Hi, this is Brendan Davis from Bedrock Games and the Bedrock blog, and I'm here with Joel and Adam, and we are talking about Peking Opera Blues, a 1986 Hong Kong comedy action film directed by Choi Hark, starring Bridget Lin, Jerry Chung, Sally Ye, Kenneth Tsang, Wu Ma, and also Gu Feng, who's not listed here, but he's an important person, and Paul Chun.
Hmm.
In this movie, an unlikely trio of women, a greedy gold digger, a hapless Peking opera novice, and a general's Western educated daughter, are thrown together in the chaos of pre revolution China. So, this is set during the Republic era, as all of these different generals are taking over the city. And again, it's a Choi Hark movie. I think, was this everybody's first time seeing it?
Yeah, it was my first time. Yeah.
My first time as well.
Okay.
There you go.
I'd never heard of this movie actually.
All right. This was not my first time, but this was my first time seeing it on Blu-ray. So there is there was that. Though sadly, I discovered, because I don't know if I told you guys when I was watching the Shout Factory one, and I had two discs, and I tried playing one of the discs that worked fine and had all the extras, and it said that the other one had a different thing on it, so I tried playing that one. But I guess it's a 2K or a 4K disc, and my player wouldn't recognize it. So I'm gonna really have to update my Blu-ray player just so that I can
Oh.
start playing all of these new Blu-ray discs.
Yep.
But yeah, so I guess what was your first impression of this film?
Hmm.
Uh,
Honestly, it's kind of a slow burn, you know. Like when we first get into it, I wasn't really ready for it to be. Hey, get up. Can you turn that down? Sorry, I'm on a podcast, sweetie. Yep, sorry, kids, holidays. Hey, yeah, whatever your expectations for this podcast were, please lower them somewhat. I've got my kids here.
Yeah, that and me and Adam are both fighting injured, and I saw this movie 2 days.
Fighting
The last time I
injured.
saw this was 2 days ago. Normally, I like
Oh
to watch it
man.
the day of or the night before, and so I can already feel the
yeah, same here.
cobwebs in the plot threads. And I
Oh,
saw it
eroded.
twice too. I watched it twice this week, but still, those 2 days.
Yeah.
So again, if we get
Okay.
plots wrong, mention it in the comments. Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, tear us apart. We deserve it. This this is the phone it in episode, folks. A
Yep.
farewell episode.
Or post Christmas drunk on eggnog episode for
None
me.
of us
So
are. There's no sobriety here, folks.
yeah.
It's a slow
Uh,
burn. I kind of pegged it for a comedy when I was like, okay, I guess we're going a little goofy with it, and it draws you in. I found myself really kind of connecting with the characters. I especially like the general's daughter and the general. I loved the general. There's something
Oh,
almost
he's great.
uh-huh.
about him. And I don't know, he's bold and he's fierce and he's lascivious and I don't, he's just kind of charming. I sort of love that guy. But all the characters are really vibrant, and then you just kind of get drawn into their little world. And there's a lot of interesting tonal shifts where it starts kind of goofy and lighthearted, and then it just as it goes on, it gets its hooks in you, and so it knows it can do more dramatic and like action oriented stuff. There's more tension, and there's some really dark scenes at the end of the movie, so I wound up really getting into it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like the villains are wonderfully hateable. So first impressions, it came on real subtle and real kind of goofy, and then it really got its hooks in me. So I was really happy with the first viewing of this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a slow burn for me. I watched like the first 20 minutes of it late at night. Just I was like I kind of wanted to get a little taste of it, and I was really excited after those 20 minutes to go back and finish it the next day. But yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a great cast. Bridget Lin, I know very well, and I was happy to see her in it. And Kufang showing up, it was great. And I'll just say as an aside, unrelated to this movie, I was really excited. Early this week, Turner Classic Movies was on, and they were doing the in memoriam thing of all the stars that died last year, and Kufang was there. I was like, yes, yes, that's so cool. I wasn't sure if he would be notable enough in America to make it for the Turner Classic Movies one, but because he's really one of my favorite Hong Kong actors. So as soon as he showed up, I loved that. But as far as new people, I got to say I really enjoyed. Is it Sherry Chung, who played the musician character? Who was, as you say,
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
totally weird because. because Bridget Lynn is like in this storyline where she's this very serious character dealing with the betrayal of her father, and it's a really conflicted, honestly difficult thing. Because as you say, I mean, we'll get into. I won't get into too much detail about the end of the movie, but it is a genuinely very ambiguous thing with that. You know, they don't
Yeah.
make him into just a straightforward villain, which would have been the easy path. And I forget where I was going
You were
with
talking
that.
about Cherry Chung, the musician.
Sherry Chung, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, oh, yes, of course. Yeah, once again, we got this very serious kind of Bridget Lynn performance going on. And Sherry Chung is just flat out over the top comedy through
Yeah.
the whole movie, pretty much. And which I found really charming. But and somehow it all worked. It
Well,
all kind of gelled
it's
together somehow.
it's interesting too because her character initially has the least amount of scruples. She's the gold digger character,
Yeah.
and so
Yes.
the having her be more comedic does help because I think if she was more serious, you wouldn't like her as much. But she's so charming
True.
because of how comedic she is. You overlook the fact that because she's the character that we like. She's there from the beginning of the movie, so she's kind of our intro to the like. She's there from the beginning
Yes.
to the end. And I wouldn't say that she's like necessarily the main character, but she is the character we see from beginning to end. And
She's
right
a key
from the
point.
start, she's there to like, to get with a rich general. You know what I mean? And it's just that everything
Well,
kind of goes to
I
hell.
I gotta say, the other thing that surprised me about her character as the movie unfolded is like that first scene where she's playing the music and she's carefully looking at all the jewelry on the general. I'm like, oh, she's some kind of, master cat burglar character.
Yeah.
Either she's a master cat burglar character or she's a rebel or something. I was like, she's got like no competence pretty
Yeah.
much through the whole movie.
whatsoever.
It's like she's just an opportunist who has these jewels fall into her hands, and it's like, yeah, I was all prepared for this expectation, and she going on the set your expectations low theme of the podcast. That's what you want to do with her character, but very entertaining nonetheless.
And at the beginning, we see that she's dealing with the first general. I know that Joel, you had mentioned you love the
Yes.
general. Were you talking about? I'm assuming the second general.
The second, although I really do love them both for different reasons.
Yeah.
The first one kind of encapsulates the movie for me, where
Yeah.
he goes from being a goofy comedic character to being like a genuinely hateable villain at the end, and it's like, wow, they really turned that around. But there's
Yeah.
elements of both of those things at the beginning and end of his character as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, that's rich. That's actually nicely balanced. So I like him, but no, it's the second general that I like a lot better.
And just to give people the visual, because it's similar for both of them. It's just that one of them is like blonde or white, and one of them has black hair. But they have like really bushy eyebrows and like really thick. I think one of them has a thick mustache. One of them has really thick mutton chops.
mutton chops, yeah.
And it's one of these things where like again we don't do it enough in Hollywood movies, I feel, but in Cantonese movies. The costuming is so exceptional, and the way that they do the hair, like, does like 80% of the work. You know what I mean for building the character. And
Yeah. No, I mean that's something I like. I mean, you get it with old American movies. You do have this more over the top personas and stuff, and I feel like, not that I don't like a lot of '70s movies, but I feel like the realism of the '70s, I feel really kind of. It was good on one hand, but it killed a lot of the flavor of movies.
yeah,
I think.
it gives like a warmth to the performances, like because it's done. It's a nod and a wink. Like the guy that when you first see the general, he's in. You get the sense that the actor is in on the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? It's he knows he's performing. You're supposed to know that he's performing. It's kind of hammy, but it really creates a good vibe. And it's amusing and funny, and so
There's no doubt about
that's-
what this dude's about. Like right away,
Yeah.
cards all on the table. It's wonderful.
And just to go on a quick diversion, it's just, I mean, we're talking about Hollywood movies. It's like that's the Coen Brothers' secret sauce is that they just draw on like the old style Hollywood over the top characters.
Okay.
And I think that's why that's why they have this kind of appeal. Is really they're really a throwback in a lot of ways.
Stark characters are very memorable, and characters that take time to simmer are a little harder to. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just that And also
No,
for
realism can be good. I just don't want all movies to be realistic, which is kind of where we got at some point.
Well, and
and I
sometimes
think
whenever you get playful with those boundaries, you get stuff like Kill Bill, which is wonderful.
yeah,
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and I think a movie like this too, because it's a foreign movie, it's not in our language. It translates better as a result of being
Yes.
so. Do you know what I mean? So like you get the humor. You don't. It doesn't need to be explained to you. You know when the general's like, how many wives do I have? And he just has
yeah, surrounded by women, and it's
Yeah.
just like, okay,
I
we know what this
know.
is about.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
some of the cultural context you might have to learn. Some other things like you might not pick up right away. But a lot of the stuff just is easily translatable because it's so physical and it's so just kind
Yeah.
of hard to miss. Um, but yeah, and again, just to get to what Joel was saying, I think one of the great things about this movie is how it is all over like you go through every
Yeah.
emotion
Uh-huh.
over the course of this. It's not even like a comedy action movie. It's like everything. It gives you like there's a torture scene at the what I mean? Like at the end of the
Yeah.
movie. So,
Like,
Yeah.
painful
That
to
was
watch torture
rough.
scene.
so
And
Rough.
like at the point that character is getting tortured too, you really root for him. You've seen them go through some
Yeah.
bad stuff, so you're like, yeah, this is actually heartbreaking. Wow, I didn't know the movie could get
Yeah.
this out of me, but there you go.
Yeah.
and I mean, yeah, and it's like believable. It's a comedy, but like the scene where they put her hands into the thing with the
Yeah, this
spikes.
is it's a genuine menace.
And I don't think I've ever seen a lash. Like I've seen lashings in a lot of movies, and they never upset me the way that this lashing did in
They
this
went,
movie.
they went full Passion of the Christ with this one.
Well, okay, Passion of the Christ. Yeah, that was pretty bad too. That was pretty bad too.
But pretty mean lashing scene in RRR as well. So.
But you know what I mean. Like normally, it's like
Yeah, I know.
you see, and she was doing the thing the actors always do when they're getting whipped, that kind of hams
Yeah.
up the pain. But it also was like it looked like a real whipping. It looked very like you were very
The skin,
upset
flaps
watching
of
the
skin
scene.
hanging off there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an upsetting scene, is how I would put it. And
Yeah.
so
It was a scourging, I think would be the way you
Yeah.
could fairly describe that.
and so I just think just over the course of the whole movie, you just get all those different things, and I love that it's all. I mean, obviously there's like the governor's mansion, but the real center of the movie is the Peking Opera House, and
Yeah.
it just really worked. The other thing that I was noticing too is because we always go back to like the old Shaw Brothers movies and then the '80s movies, and like clearly they're filmed in a very different way, and one of the most obvious things is a lack of sets in a lot of those
Yeah.
'80s movies. But this one actually seemed to be using a lot of sets. And the thing that
Yes.
I noticed, and again, I'm sure this is obvious to people that know film, but we're kind of more just like fans. We're not like, film experts. It's sort of finally crystallized for me one of the things that's so different, which is when you're watching like an old '70s Shaw Brothers movie, the layout of the building they're in is always totally clear. Like the camera gives you a wide view. You know where everything is. And in this one, I was like, wait, this is the same exact kind of like that. You could have done this as like a Shaw Brothers set, but they're obfuscating what the layout is because they're focused on the characters more. They're not focused on the general layout of the building. And so, like,
Yeah.
after I watched the Black Tavern, I could draw you a map of the Black Tavern very easily.
Yes.
I would not be able to draw you a
They
map
literally,
of any of the buildings
yeah,
in this.
yeah, the first shot where they're at the Black Tavern, they literally have the camera go from the gate at the front all the
Yeah.
way along the side of the entire tavern as the character is walking through. You see the staples and everything. Yeah, they really make a point of letting you know the geography, basically.
But one of the other things I was thinking about was that change also really does allow them to kind of focus a little bit more on the characters because they're
Sure.
always sort of closer in frame and on the action as well. I mean, I do like
Yeah.
those older Shaw Brothers movies, and I like that style of filmmaking. But I thought it was, it's just one of these things where it's like I always know there's a difference, but I can never express what the difference is.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. 'Cause I think by the end of the movie, I did have an understanding of the layout to it. Like, there's those outbuildings at the back where they're with the daughter and stuff. But yeah, you don't, in a Shaw Brothers movie, you would have known that right away, as
Yeah.
opposed to an hour into the movie going, okay, I think I understand how this place fits together.
Yeah, you get like
But
a bird's eye view at some point of the whole thing, and
yeah,
and every shot kind of reinforces that perception.
yep,
And in a movie like this, everything looks like different depending on what angle it's being filmed at.
yes,
And so it's kind of, even though it doesn't give you a sense of what the layout actually is, it is a little bit more like being in an actual building. So there's a
yes.
difference in that respect. But anyways, I don't know why I had that thought while I was watching this one, because there's a million
No,
movies that do
it wasn't something.
But
That was good. I was something I hadn't thought about, but it's an interesting observation.
but
I agree. Then it kind of adds a sense of like spatial confusion to the whole thing, which benefits certain scenes. Like anytime they're in the opera house, like where you are, either on the stage or off the stage, like matters a lot, you know. And the
Yes.
camera is like really whipping back and forth between those two worlds,
Yeah.
and it sets up some really fun like comedic moments. Just because that energy is like constantly really high, no matter where they are. And when you actually see the performance on stage, it's incredible. And then it whips back behind the stage, and he's just berating and screaming at people and shoving them out onto the stage. And it's yeah, and like having that sense of like not exactly knowing what the layout is, that sort of adds to the disorienting element of that scene, which is I think it makes it kind of a joy to watch. So
and I guess and I guess the one of the central jokes of the opera house that I don't know, I found this amusing because there's something similar that happens in like Western theater history as well, where only like women weren't allowed on the stage, men were only supposed to play women, and so and this is at a point where like the official ban has been lifted, like from the Qing era, and even unofficially I think there were women that played on stage. But so this is like a transitional period, and this guy is worried that if he allows women to perform on the stage, it's going to ruin his. And Wuma, that's his whole thing. He just doesn't want his opera house to be ruined. Like he's
Yeah. Well,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're in an interesting time period too. But when you've got a different warlord rolling through and running, is the prohibition lifted? Like the father general, for example. He's plotting to put the emperor back on the throne, which to an extent would mean that he would kind of be on the side of not. Well, actually, he isn't. Actually, he's the one who's like, oh, if they're women, now I think about it, if they're women, I'm going to marry them. So actually, he doesn't care.
No,
but it's like I said, you don't know what you're doing in a revolutionary situation. You could be doing the right thing one day, and the next day you're dead for doing it. So
well, and the interesting thing is that's one of like the plot beats of the movie is that. That her father so something that happens because you have men playing women on stage is some of the male characters, the Gu Feng character in particular, ends up falling in love with one of the male actors, and that sort of serves as a lot of comedic fuel in the movie. But when the general doesn't seem to be as susceptible to that kind of blurring, and so when he sees the when they in order for the male performer who's become the object of affection for Gu Feng's character to escape, one of the women has to go on stage, and then the other woman also goes on stage, which is its whole thing on its own. But when the general sees that, I think he said something like, "Oh, if they were actual women, I might take them as wives." And then when he finds out that they were really, he was like, "Oh, women in the opera, that's a great idea." And so that's kind of what leads that, and then the father's totally okay with it because the general's okay with it, and But I don't know, it's just a really endless source of comedic amusement to the whole film.
It is. I felt very seen by the actors too. Anytime I'm around a gaggle of actors, that is exactly what they're like. A bunch of important Nancy lads.
Exactly. Yeah, that theater background too. I can agree.
You know.
And also the Peking opera in this was a lot of fun. Like obviously they're kind of taking the piss, you know what I mean? But like it was. Like the scene where there's like, what was it, the two Mu Guiying characters, and what was funny too is I kept replaying that because I really have to watch these movies that are this kinetic on dubs now because I cannot read and follow action anymore. I'm too old, and and
I just
but
rewind a lot. I'll like watch it, read it, and I'll put it back and I'll focus on it. So it took me like probably 2.5 hours to watch this hour and a half movie. But
well, the thing is, during that scene, because the singing was important, I kept going back and listening to it on both
yes,
versions, and it was actually pretty close.
yes,
But I thought that was the where they're both the same character on stage, and they're just kind of seem to be ad libbing what's going. It was I thought that was hysterical.
yeah, that was a classic scene.
And yeah, so but again, getting back to the ensemble thing, where like because I
Yeah,
Adam had mentioned that like the Bridget Lynn character is more serious, the Cherry Chung character is more goofy, and I guess the Sally Ye character is a little bit more of a in the middle of the two of them. Do you know what I mean? She kind of
Yeah,
has yeah.
she's the voice of reason, basically. You know, it's she's the normal person in the mix of these two
Yeah, because Bridget
outlandish
Lynn is almost
characters in different
severe.
ways.
She's almost dour in this movie, right? Like she doesn't smile that much.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
think the contrast between them all really worked well to kind of
it does.
yeah. And I don't know. I think you like the Cherry Chung character. I kind of like the Sally Ye character. I think that was my
I liked
favorite as
her
well.
too. It's just it's just kind of my first impression. Obviously, Cherry Chung character, as you say, she's the beginning of the movie. She's just the thing that pulled me into the movie. But the Sally Ye character, yeah, when she comes into the movie, basically it is just a great ensemble piece. There's everybody in this is good, even the more like the soldier who Cherry hits on the head, who
Yeah,
shows up
oh,
throughout the
that's
movie.
great.
yeah,
I
that's pretty
love the
funny.
line too when she finally confesses it, and he's like, "Yeah, I knew that."
That's the, yeah, that's the one thing I remembered clearly was who smashed the vase over my or the what was it,
Yeah,
the Shan Shao, I think it was, over his head twice.
you're adorable. I can forgive you, so it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, and also the Cherry Chung character, she's kind of like a light bulb. Do you know what I mean? She's like she's a like it's very easy to for that. She's maybe the more memorable of all the characters in the movie.
Yeah, she's definitely present in every scene that she's in. Like you know when she's there.
Yeah.
and
Um,
and the immorality of her character is just very amusing. I just find like the
Well,
whole Goldinger angle is good for like the Bridget Lynn character is great, but she's not as funny as the Cherry
nowhere
Chung
near.
character.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, although there's a recurring thing where they kind of literally have her be two-faced. Like, for example, where she'll, when she's kind of getting that cart ride for the guy and promising the bracelet, it's like, oh, I'll give you this necklace. I'll spot. She turns her face. She's like, "Rrr." There's like a number of times in the movie where she does something like
And that
that,
poor
just
guy,
presenting one expression, turning her head, and then you see her real feelings.
that poor guy ends up
But
getting shot.
yeah, I know he
Yeah.
dies. Yeah, early on, we were talking about the movie gets dark later. That was like, whoa, that poor guy got killed for just nothing there.
What I
Basically,
like
yeah.
about these comedy action films is like it is how it encapsulates that death light as a feather type of feel, where it's just like
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
one moment the character's laughing, and then the next moment they're stone dead. It's just
Yeah, yeah,
it's grim. It makes it more grim because there's more,
Well,
lightheartedness going on or before
it
or after.
it does.
Right, and it
It
demonstrated
does.
that particular moment demonstrated that the movie was gonna have teeth,
Yeah.
right? Because it could have been a straight
Yes.
comedy up until then. Up until then, it could have been like just a goofy comedy. Soon as that body hits the pavement, you're like, oh, okay, no, people
Yeah.
can die. This is actually this could get grim.
It reminded me a little bit, and I guess it makes sense because Cui Hark was involved in that in the Chinese Ghost story, the scene with the soldiers where there's like somebody shouting and they just go
Yeah,
after them, and it kind of had that feel to it. But yeah,
yeah,
and I think too the the there's like a gallows humor to it that just kind of where like this is obviously a period where like of great uncertainty, of violence, of all these things, and so just the that it's able to use that for humor, but also to kind of build on the humor to get to other places, like the revenge plot at the end, like not the revenge plot, but the revenge storyline involving Bridget Lynn's character, where
Versus the
yep,
yeah,
secret police ghouls.
yeah.
Oh, those guys were so
yeah,
wonderfully like oily and terrible. I loved them.
And that makes the ending so much better. The fact that they work in Like they didn't, like they need they. It's interesting because and again we're going to spoil things, but the whole plot is she's working to sort of undermine her father, but she still has like this loving relationship with her father, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's complicated.
and the way the
Interesting way.
movie preserves that is by having him get killed, so that
Yep.
and he dies thinking that she is because basically the reason he dies is the Gufeng secret police chief accuses her of being a revolutionary. He says my
Yeah.
daughter would never be such a and he dies even though he's completely wrong. She was a revolutionary, but then she's able to go and
Yeah.
get the revenge against the secret policeman. And it's also a thing where her love for her father is still sincere. She's like a revolutionary, but she's conflicted about the relationship with her father and what she's trying to achieve politically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was really, if we're getting towards the ending of the movie here, I got to say, I was really impressed with the ending because during the movie, I was kind of thinking, I'm like, is their plan even going to? I mean, obviously, we know it doesn't. We're like, is their plan going to achieve anything? What's the point of killing this guy? I mean, it's like, okay, you're going to kill one warlord, another warlord's just going to step in,
Yeah.
and there's this idea. Oh, we're going to go to they're going to go to the parliament, and they're all going to be like, ooh, he's a bad guy, and everything's going to be okay. I'm like, it's the most ridiculous, optimistic plan in the world. And I was like, the fact that at the end it's like, yeah, this movie achieved nothing. No, nothing they did changed anything really, and where everything.
Well, no,
there's
the
another
implication
revolution.
is the document that they had helped to help to change things. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I don't know.
That's
I
why, because
interpreted it differently.
at the end of the movie, it said,
But,
it does it as sort of like an after note as they're leaving.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's what I was talking about. I mean, I interpret it as, I mean, I know, to me, having been close to revolution is the most horrible thing that can happen. It's like, and then there was it's like, okay, well, basically, and then there was just another revolution.
well, no, but
It's
the
just
other thing to keep in mind,
I interpret it as like as a bad thing, but
and
I don't know. It's open to interpretation.
and I don't want to get too into the history because my brain is foggy as hell, and I don't want to give
Oh,
people a lot of
I don't
information.
either.
But,
I don't know enough about
but I
this
think
time period.
I think the idea was that, I mean, they're revolutionaries in the sense that they're trying to prevent the restoration. Like, this is the Republic era, and
Oh, yeah.
the president is trying to restore the empire, and so that's what they're trying to avert. That is the idea. So
Fair enough. Yeah, I was just kind of taking it as this, and then the wheel just keeps on turning. But,
I saw it more as
maybe
like,
I'm wrong.
remember Yes Madam with the microfiche. I think it was microfiche. There was some MacGuffin,
It's
and it was
been a
like
long
everything
time
hinged
since
on
I've seen
if
that.
all they needed was the microfiche, and that was just gonna. I think it's that kind of plot device where it's like all they needed was the evidence that the president is involved in this conspiracy to do this thing, and then But either way, it's not particular. It's actually not super important to the plot of the movie because the plot of the movie is really kind of about the three women, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah, and I want to say something real quick too, which is that I said a revolution is the worst thing that can happen, and I feel like just just to qualify my statement, I don't consider the American Revolution a revolution. It was actually a secession, not a revolution, which is why it worked. Because the same people running, the same rich people running the colonies were running it after the war. It wasn't a complete total cluster, revolution. It was just a secession, so it was much tidier. Secessions work.
I don't think
I'm
people are going to
glad
draw the conclusion that you were anti-American Revolution from the.
I was about
I
to
just had to put my statement in there because.
Yeah, you're forgiven.
Thank you, Joel.
On behalf of all
I feel absolved.
But one thing that it did kind of capture some of those things that you're talking about, in that every time a new warlord every time a new general comes in. There's all and there's that one guy who's like kind of too smart for his own good, and he's talking about it's the same thing every time. Someone new comes in, then in a week he's gone, and then one of the secret police is like, "Hey,
that's where
buddy."
My brain was.
Yeah.
My brain was in that space, and I mean, I got to say too. I mean, I think the tragedy of the Bridget Lynn character is it's like, it's like, okay, well, she kills her father. It's like, okay, well, here's. You had a warlord you could potentially have some influence over that had something, and it's like, oh, now now you have no power at all. You've got nothing. But yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot of ambiguity in this movie as to what was the right thing. But for just surprising for such a goofy movie. It's,
Well, I mean, I'm sure they, and I'm certain that there's some like communist element that was looming over this too, where they're like, we got to be a little bit careful about what we put.
Well,
in
no,
this
because this
movie.
was a Cantonese movie. So this was done in Hong Kong.
Oh,
Yeah.
So yeah, they
really?
wouldn't. Yeah, this would have been at a time when they
Yeah.
wouldn't have been as
They wouldn't
concerned
have
about
cared
that
then.
sort of thing.
They'd have been like, yeah,
they
communism.
weren't even thinking about the handoff to Britain at this
Yeah.
point. I don't think it was just too early.
But,
Handoff from Britain, yeah.
It's to Britain, from Britain.
But
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the and I guess the I forget where we were going. What led us down this
I
rabbit
don't
hole?
know. We were
who
talking about
knows?
the ending. It's kind of what
Oh,
led
yeah.
us down there. I was the one.
Oh yeah,
I was
the
like,
ending.
yeah.
Okay, so but that ending sequence I think is because it's like it's number one. This is like a very visually stunning movie. I think it's got
yeah.
it's got a lot of
Breathtaking.
color to it. It just has a very interesting look, and the way that they sort of end where. They're in the opera house. They're all dressed up and performing in the opera,
Yeah.
and the secret
Yeah,
police are
with the eight
surrounding
immortals.
them. And they're there because they have to get the documents. That's why they had to go back. And so to escape,
Yeah.
they have to be part of the performance. And then they kind of escape their way up to the top of the building. And then there's this great rooftop chase. And so you even get a rooftop
Yeah.
chase at the end of this movie.
And a rooftop battle, which is really gory and great.
Yeah.
Wonderful
That's good
kinetic
stuff.
battle. I genuinely thought that what's her name, boy girl, was gonna die. But yeah, she takes like 8 bullets, and then she's just like, I'm still gonna kill this guy.
One of them gets shot in the chest. I think it was her. She gets shot in the chest,
Yeah,
right?
She
And
got shot in the chest
yeah.
twice, and then shot in the leg, and then shot a bunch of other times, and then she's like, no, I'll be fine.
yeah. Hey,
Just
you
rides
know,
off in the sunset at the end. It's like,
I was actually very happy that she survived
Yeah,
that.
same.
You know, it would have been a
about-
bummer.
yeah.
He died.
You know, obviously,
Yeah, I was-
you know, the thing is, I think one of the problems because the Peking Opera Blues is the American title. I can't remember the Chinese
Yeah.
title, but it's much more on spot for what the movie actually is. But
I'm looking it up.
one problem with the Peking Opera Blues title is you expect it to end in a kind of the blues are supposed to be in there somewhere, like
Knife horse actresses is
Yeah.
what it's called. But knife horse actresses is a term for men playing women in a play.
That's so much better.
yeah, that makes a lot more sense. They probably wouldn't have meant anything to an American audience, so I understand why they called it Peking
No.
Opera Blues. But with Peking Opera Blues, I expect a real tragedy at the end. And granted, General So dies. There's some tragedy there, but
Yeah.
My
it's
beloved General So. My beloved General So.
I know.
He dies. I like to point out, like, we've not been doing him justice. You should see the movie just for him.
he's a
Even
great
if-
character.
It's fantastic. Well, and I love the very last few scenes of him where he's like talking about how like I believe in the law of the jungle. I loved that so much. Like, I listened to the dub. I love the dub.
The dub was really good, I thought, actually, because I
It
did
was
watch
great.
both.
It's really funny. And the voice actors are really good, but like they just ride that line of hamminess. But man, he was great because he goes from suspecting his daughter to immediately being like, "Nah, I'm washed up, but you're gonna have a good life." And it's like he has this capacity to change on a
Yeah.
dime that never really stops, except about loving his daughter. It's the one constant he has,
Yeah.
that and loving women. But like he never goes back on him, so I like that. He kind of dies in a noble way, even though he's a little bit of a goofball.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it's a genuine, sincere love for his daughter, and also that scene. It's a roller coaster. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you feel bad for him almost in that moment because you do realize, oh, his daughter is betraying him. Do you know what I mean? And I also my sense of that character is that he would because the question is raised over whether he would forgive her. And I do feel like that
Yeah.
character might actually forgive the daughter, given how he might have to be delusional about it and like say, people influenced you and brainwashed you or something. But I feel
Yeah.
like
But you
Well,
never can tell.
she's just got back from education
Yeah.
too. Like, so I mean, she's like got to be in her early 20s or so. It's easier to forgive someone that age. It's like that's the age of being a real stupid idiot. So you gotta.
That's the age of
and
being
that
a
guy's
stupid
played
idiot.
by
Thank
Kenneth
you, well
Sung,
played.
by the way.
Brilliantly by Kenneth Song. So
He was really good, and
Yeah.
the look, the attitude. He kind of has almost like a golden-haired Lion King
Yeah.
attitude about him. You know, there's just like he's a very, I don't know what the, like a very like full of vitality. Despite his older years, it's a little unclear how old he's supposed to be, but I think he's supposed to be kind of older. Um, and also, he's got kind of interesting backstory too that he gets into. Like
Yeah, because it's not like he's just some pampered loser. Like this dude fought his way to the top, tooth and nail.
and his wife died. His wife took a bullet meant for him. You know, so there's like this whole tragic backstory to the character.
Yeah,
and again,
it's so good.
and it's all like whiplash. It's like you get like just it just kind of comes out of nowhere, but like you still feel it. And again, I think there's another reason why this movie that we wanted to do this movie is just because like there's a lot of movies that kind of do what this movie did. Do you know what I mean? After, but oh my god, this is like if you know what this movie is good for, if you want to explain to somebody why movies from this time and period, this time like when it was filmed, not when it was set, why they're so special, this is one of the movies you would show somebody.
This is a special movie. I think you're right. It balances, and again, I didn't expect really to like it that much when I first started watching it, but man, it really won me over.
Yeah, I sensed your reluctance, by the way, when I don't know why there was you weren't even, I don't think you were even trying to convey it, but it just I kind of got a feel of it.
I really, well, you know me. I usually leap in with both feet, but this one I was like, I don't know about this. But you also know that, you know, much like our beloved general there, I turn on a dime sometimes, and this one it got me. I went full general in this one, so it's visually arresting. It's got brilliant martial, like the action is incredible, like actually really breathtaking. Even in non-action scenes, like whenever they're just at the Peking Opera and they're just doing their acrobatics on stage, it's like, oh wow, that's actually amazing. No wonder people go to see
the
that.
Peking Opera was great. It was really a lot of fun to watch, and and again, I'm no like Peking opera buff, so I'm not like,
I'm no aficionado, but it looked cool.
But I've seen enough of it in the movies, and I've seen a little bit of it, and I feel like this movie is one of those ones that kind of gives you like a really thorough impression of it. Do you know what I mean? Even though it's a goofball film, you get a sense of what some of the like the elegance of the movements and things like that, and you know, like the performances are actually very fun to watch. So I think
they're arresting. It's a kind of a kabuki energy to it, which I'm sure they're happy with that comparison. But like, yeah, so there's the comedy is genuinely funny even across cultural boundaries, which is really hard to achieve. The performances are again, like there's a lot of variety here, and like you said, it's got this whiplash to it. Like you can't look away from this movie, you'll miss something. And something you wanted to see, not just something that's plot important, but something that's like genuinely novel and entertaining, and adds to that kinetic feel of the whole thing. So it's wonderful. It's a brilliant little film,
and it's even good with stuff like the tension, like because there's the whole secret police part. That's like the thing that really makes everything uncomfortable in the movie, is the fact that these secret police are everywhere. And even in the scene when she's trying, like there's one scene where they need to get the father to go to the bathroom, and you know,
just can't make it happen.
And he's got this like this woman that's with him that's like that's like a total ditz, and so they poison his food, but he ends up giving it to her, and it's interesting that the secret police, like he picks up on the daughter's reaction to the father not eating the thing, and the just all those, and you're like, oh my god, this guy is like paying attention to everything. This is a really dangerous situation if he's picking up on that. And
so there's like genuinely great villains and genuine tension.
And that's the other thing. Adam touched on it. Gu Feng plays the secret police chief. Let me see if I can find a character's name if they list it. He's Commander
He's
Lulu.
good at little things like showing he's paying attention. I mean, that's just the perfect kind of Gu Feng thing there. He's great at that kind of role.
I think I
like about Gu Feng too. I love the fact that he can be like a totally hateable villain. That he can play like some really kind farmer in the next movie, and then he can be some noble head of a clan in the next. It's like you just give him any role, and it's like he's just gonna nail it. It doesn't matter. Just randomly give him some part in the movie, and he'll be fine.
And this was a good part for him because it's a villain, but it's like a different kind of villain. There's a little more wacky than some of his Shaw Brothers villains. You know what I mean? And also just he's got a clear predilection for torture. So he's kind of like the guy from The Princess Bride a little bit. You know, he's got that like he's not quite as corny as that guy gets, but he's up there, and also just the whole thing with him being in love with the what did you say the term was, the knife horse actress? Was that the name for the man?
Knife horse actress, yes.
He falls in love with the knife horse actress, and then what's interesting, another interesting thing about this movie is it really kind of always throws these curveballs at you where they present all of the knife horse actresses as gay,
nice
as very clearly, visibly gay. Like it's very over the top, and including that character. I can't remember his name, but then when the Gu Feng character has an interest in him, he doesn't want it's like, okay, this is this guy buddy. Not really gay, or like or is he just or is he concerned about fulfilling like his duty to his parents and having kids, so he wants to get married? You're not sure what it is, but it immediately gets your interest because you're like, oh, there's more to this guy than sort of the over the top stuff they were doing a moment ago.
Well, it's interesting too is he just drops out of the movie early on. It's like, it's they're willing to flesh out this character that's just gonna
and I would say on his part wisely so.
But he's the one that also ends up with the jewels too. I mean, if I recall, I think he just goes off with the box of jewels, and the thing that sets the whole movie off, they just depart the movie at that point and are never seen again. So it's kind of funny. It's like you think they would have been the MacGuffin, like the microfish through the whole movie, but nope, they've done their part. Get rid of them.
There was an entirely different MacGuffin that didn't even get introduced in those scenes that we now have to follow. It's wonderful.
They're actually very good in this movie of knowing how to get rid of a character and when, because that character, they get rid of him when they need to, and the same thing with with her father. If they didn't get rid of him at that moment, it would have complicated the movie a lot, and they're really able to kind of get all the emotions they need and then move on to the next thing, and then that sets up the revenge in the rooftop chase, which makes the rooftop chase better.
I guess it's very operatic in that regard. It almost has because I've been watching a lot of Shakespeare lately. On Adam's recommendation, I got the Laurence Olivier Shakespeare.
What Shakespeare were you watching out of curiosity?
Hamlet.
Hamlet. That's a good one. That's a very good Hamlet.
It is, and the entrances and exits of characters, there's enough there that there's a lot of mapping to it. I'm just like, oh my goodness, that's great.
I was on a Macbeth binge for
I need to get there's a version of Macbeth that was done in the 70s.
That's the Polanski version. I think that's the one that I was watching a month ago. What I normally do is as I watch a movie version, then I listen to like an audio play of it, and then I'll be like, I'm ready for a play version, and then I'll read it. Yeah. And that's kind of how I prepare myself.
Plays, and especially with Shakespeare plays, you kind of want to take him in from a lot of angles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and not to get too far.
No,
off
it's
track,
fine. It's fine. I mean,
everyone
talk
knew
about
what a snob that I was.
Well, no, these are very. A lot of times, these movies do strike me as Shakespearean. There's even a Chinese. What's it called? The Butterfly Lovers. There's a Chinese. There's been a bunch of movies by that title, and it's interesting because it's very similar to the Romeo and Juliet story. And there's a lot of discussion. And I don't know. I'm not a scholar in any of this stuff, but there's a lot of discussion when I've looked into it on whether it originated in China or whether it originated in the West with things like Romeo and Juliet. So and if you watch like the Butterfly Lovers, you'll be like, oh my God, this is like very similar.
Very much.
But it seems like they might have been independent or.
Remember that Hamlet is like that. Like Hamlet didn't originate as Hamlet. Like I remember it was a reworking of something by Shakespeare. So
well, it's. Romeo and Juliet. You also got Tristram and Isolde as a thing too. Not Tristram also. I'm sorry, I'm going back through. What is it? I forget. And there's a Roman story that's very similar. But once again, the Romans were in contact with India, which means stuff could have come all the way over from China during the Roman era too. So I mean, all these stories are so old. I mean, like the Romeo and Juliet concept is so old. It's almost impossible to figure out where it came from.
Maybe one of these days, since Joel, you're on a Shakespeare kick, maybe we'll do the Butterfly Lovers at some point. There's also a very interesting movie. Is it called Black Scorpion? I could have the name wrong. I can't remember. I'd have to look. I can picture the poster, but I'm not sure.
I've
I'm getting a
seen
title.
Black Scorpion. No, I'm thinking Black Butterfly, not Black Scorpion. I
Oh
haven't seen
yeah, that's
Black
what I was
Scorpion,
thinking
sorry.
about.
Here, will
I was like,
Yeah.
you guys talk for a moment. I'll make sure I get the movie title correct.
When you
By
tell
the
me
way,
to talk, I don't know what to say anymore.
I always know what to
just
say.
shuts me
Okay,
down.
I got it.
Yeah,
So
you do.
the movie is called The Banquet, but it also has a title of The Legend of the Black Scorpion. It's a 2006 wuxia film, and I remember I haven't seen it in ages, but I remember it. Oh yeah, it's a loose adaptation of Hamlet, so that might also interest
Okay.
you, Joe.
I
Let's
am
do it.
interested.
Let's do it.
I love
If we
loose
can find it, at
adaptations of
least.
Hamlet.
Yeah, we'll see if it's
Yeah.
available, and it also has like one of the most interesting. There's like an iconic scene that that I think you guys would enjoy. But yeah, so I forget where we were going when we got on the tangent.
We were really just glazing the movie at this
Okay,
point. Give me a
okay.
recommendation.
Oh yeah, you were
Yeah,
talking
I
about
think- I
Shakespeare.
think-
So
I-
it's Shakespearean. That's what we were saying, right? We were talking about how
It
there's a
is
Shakespearean.
surprisingly Shakespearean.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is a
Having
theatrical.
comedy in it doesn't make it not Shakespearean.
Oh,
Shakespeare
Shakespeare,
always
great
throws in some
comedy.
comedy.
Tempest was really
Yeah.
funny. The Drunks and
yeah.
the Tempest are some of my favorite stage comedy. So
Twelfth Night's a good one.
there you go. There you go.
But yeah, so I mean, I think again, and I don't know if we mentioned this because we were all in a bit of a fog, but this is a very important Choi Hark movie. And one of the things that sometimes happens with Choi Hark is he's made so many movies and they can really run the gamut. And he just kind of will do anything sometimes. And so so sometimes people go to they'll start with like a later Choi Hark movie or something, and they won't. It's usually better to start with a movie like this or Green Snake or Zoo Warriors from the Magic Mountain, the first one, not the later one.
Oh, I still need to see that. I've still not seen Zoo Warriors of Magic Mountain.
Oh, you really haven't? Oh,
It's interesting.
I haven't.
I mean, it's interesting as kind of a formative thing, but I feel like it, to set expectations, I feel like it starts better than it ends. But,
Oh, it's time to get the kids from school.
All right. Okay. So,
Uh-oh.
so what?
It's not. They're right behind me.
Oh, okay. That movie, I like that movie, but I think the thing to keep in mind with it is it's a little bit about the visuals and the
Yes.
styling and the atmosphere
Yes.
and there are characters in there that are cool, but it's a lot of it is that they look cool or that they have it's kind of hard. It has a very sort of fantasy feel to it where it's not there's a little bit of a distance between you and the characters is the way I might put it.
Once again, I'm not saying don't watch it. I feel like if you're really into this genre, then by all means, that is an essential movie because it is really kind of groundbreaking in what it's doing. But I feel like Choi Hark, it's him figuring it out, but he hasn't quite gotten to, the point he will later with putting things together.
Yeah.
But it's still totally worth watching. You should definitely watch it, Joel.
I absolutely am. Well, I've been meaning to watch it because it's one of the ones that got recommended in Legends of the Wulin as one of the ones you kind of have to see to run that game. And I designed the successor to that game and still haven't seen it, so I feel a little bad.
Yeah, and also obviously, Once Upon a Time in China would be another one that you would probably want to see.
I think I've seen Once Upon a Time in China.
Yeah, it is a good one. It's a good one. But yeah, so I guess we'll end it here. We've been going on for a while, and
Yeah, we got a pretty good episode out of this, all said and told.
yeah, and again, it's I got a version of it recently that's on the Shout Factory Blu-ray, but I think it's up on Amazon Prime to stream. I think if you just have whatever subscription or whatever, you can watch it. And again, when a movie like this is on Prime, one thing I've learned is you should definitely watch it while it's on there because they do tend to go away and then you can never see them again. Like, good luck finding the Butterfly Murders now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I watched this on Prime, and I'm very tempted to pick this up on Blu-ray in the near future because I enjoyed it that much.
Same. I honestly didn't think I was going to enjoy it this much, but I really did like it. I want to watch it again.
and it's considered something of a companion piece to Shanghai Blues. So there's another movie they did earlier.
Okay.
It's kind of like he's developing the idea a little bit. So and it's a different movie, but people will often pair them. But yeah, so why don't we end it here? And I guess until next time, we will talk to you later.